Hey you, so I wanted to talk about coin grading and whether it's a sham, as some people do believe it's a sham, and just my thoughts on what I've personally seen on a lot of the modern coins when it comes to grading the modern coins I'm going to be referring to mainly here, and a lot of cowboy grading I've also seen coming back. So I just wanted to break into a few details on those. But breaking into this, what prompted this video a little is, as we all saw with the imperfections on this coin that I recently displayed, I took some high definition pictures to go with the video and sending them on to the dealer and making them aware of the errors on all the imperfections on some of these coins. So I do know that the American Mint have gone on to see the images, and they had stated to the dealer that within their parameters, the imperfections that we all saw on the video I displayed and that they saw on the images that I sent in was more than acceptable for them, and they believed that these errors or the imperfections on the coin were only visible under extreme magnification. Now that's exactly what they've told the dealer who I purchased the coins for, and so in the long short it was basically saying it passed their parameters, they was more than happy with it. The imperfections on the coin was standard in their eyes, so they wasn't prepared to exchange the coin, and that the imperfections could only really be seen under extreme magnification. So that got me to thinking. I mean, I did end up resolving this matter with the dealer that I went with, and this is where dealing with a good dealer really plays a massive role, because a lot of the time if the dealer's going to pass the buck and then basically come back to you and say, well, the dealer, if the mint is not willing to refund or exchange the coin for me, I can't do the same for you, that really leaves you up poo-poo's creek. So that really is going to boil down to where you get your coins from dealer wise. So you may want to think about that moving forward in the future, whether your dealer is infamous for digging their heels in the ground and leaving you stuck with a problem, or whether they're very cooperative and do help you. But it was interesting that they thought that these parameters were more than acceptable for them. So it got me to thinking. I've seen a lot of cowboy grading as of late, and I'll put it out there that I do prefer PCGS as a company over NGC. I'm going to be displaying a few gold coins I've got here. Now, when I say cowboy grading, from individuals that have contacted me in the past to today, and it just a lot of stuff that I've seen online, I'm not saying PCGS are not guilty of cowboy grading, but I have seen a lot more cowboy grading coming from NGC. Now when I say cowboy grading, it's going to be where a coin that clearly is not worthy of a 70 grade has a 70 grade, and the coin has some type of deep or blatant flaw on the coin. So now what made me think about what the American Mint had said is, I know that they and dealers as well also do batch dispatches to the grading company, so they'll send off a load of coins at a time, and they seem to come back with 70s and 69s, but a lot more 70s than an private individual may get. So it got me to thinking whether there's a lot of bias from the grading companies in favor of these mints or dealers when it comes to grading, because from what I'm seeing now, I'm actually, as we all know, dipping my feet into the whole grading process. So I've been immersing myself in as much knowledge as possible when it comes to grading. So whether it be reading up or watching videos and just trying to find out as much as I can from each grading company. Now, from what I understand, when it comes to physically grading the coins themselves, the coins can be graded from up to 1 to 2 to 6 individual grading individuals. So that may be, when it gets to the actual grading process, it may be 2 individuals minimum from what I've seen to 6 individuals minimum, and they'll all take the said coin, go over it, look for any type of imperfections, and give it their own individual number. And then the next individual will do the same, and then they come up with a final number after all of that. Once again, if anybody can give any type of input as to any other process or processes that they know, it'd be fantastic. You leave that in the comments. But from when this process is happening, for me personally, it's got too much of the human element to it. Now when you add too much of the human element, you're going to get the human error or the human bias, and that's when I say is coin grading becoming a sham. This is where I believe it's coming somewhat of a sham and more of a personal business for the dealers, the mints and the grading companies. Because when I say that, I've seen coins where they've gone in, now understand, they've gone in to the grading company. They haven't been graded and all the likes of that, and then when they've been slabbing the actual coin, gone on to get a dink or a dent and then go out to the customer. They've gone in with an actual defect on the coin, be it a spot or a scratch or some type of imperfection that the US Mint seems is more than acceptable, and then it's gone on to go through 1, 2, 3 to 6 graders' hands, and they've all graded that as 70. Now that is clearly not right, so it leads you to believe, what exactly are they doing there? Because you would think it going more number of graders would be a good thing, but when you start getting a coin that's going through a number of graders' hands and it's coming back with good results, yeah, it has a blatant flaw. And I understand you're able to view an image of the coin when it's been at the actual grading company, so you can see an image of the coin where you're then able to even see the imperfections. Now a lot of people are brushing this off, and if you get a 70, I can understand why you wouldn't care, because you've got what you wanted, but it really needs to be addressed more and a spotlight put on it as to why I'm saying it is a sham, and it's becoming more of a sham as I'm seeing a lot more cowboy grades coming in. So I think they're working in favor of the mints and the dealers as to giving them more favorable results, so that you end up purchasing the 70s and the likes off of them. But from what I'm personally seeing, if it's going through the same process where they're either flipping the coin in the air and saying 60 or 70, people may want to start looking a lot more at these early releases or pre-slabbed coins that they're getting from dealers. As I personally don't believe, even though, and I know a lot of people get some type of reassurance just from seeing the 70 label and don't believe that their coin is going to have any type of imperfection, because I don't know, it was viewed by the Holy One himself. But these companies, especially one over the other, NGC, are making a lot of cowboy mistakes, and it's leaving one to think if they're actually looking at the coin, or how are they going about grading this coin. Because like I said, I'm not well versed in this, I'm just getting my toes wet, but I'm seeing a lot more cowboy grading taking place, which is just making me, it's putting a real dampener on it. I mean, I've mentioned why I would be grading some coins, and I still intend to grade them for the same reasons, but it's not very, you know, when a private individual submits a load of coins, they go over them and believe they're in good nick, but end up coming with low numbers. And then I've heard of an individual submitting a coin that he saw wasn't in good nick and ended up getting a 70. So I mean, personally, what I'd love to see is if the grading companies went on to get some type of Skynet or a robotic option, where I know some mints do this for detecting some type of errors within their coins, but if they was to go ahead and get some type of robot, program in some parameters where it would be picking up some type of imperfections and the likes of, and then flashed up with a number, and if that number was say over 60 or something, then the human element could kick in and grade that coin, knowing that the robot gave it a certain grade, and then they could grade it up to a 70 onwards, and then the robot, if it was more fair in that way there, the fact that it's all left down to the human eye is, I now believe that there's a lot more bias going on when these companies are grading, and it's working in favour for a lot of companies and dealers. I understand there was a situation where a dealer couldn't even get any 70s off a batch of Queen's Beast as of recent, so that's saying a lot about the raw mint quality. It's got to be real bad when the cowboy graders are not even willing to play ball. But I think it's becoming more of a sham, especially for the modern coins in general, and I want to hear of any individuals that have come across this themselves where they believe they've sent a coin and even under magnification have seen no type of imperfections, but still didn't go on to get the grade they wanted. Now I know they take other things into account like the luster and the actual stamp of the coin and so forth, but at what point do we start saying, okay, what are the actual parameters that they require or want? Because when you are seeing more coins getting graded that have blatant flaws and scratches in them, and that's able to go through a number of graders' hands and not look it or bring none of these things up, it makes you wonder as to how exactly they are grading these coins. So I personally feel it's becoming more of a sham, even though I'm still getting into it for certain reasons. I'm not going to be grading as much as I would have liked to. I never did want to grade for the fun of it or just to add slab coins to my collection. It was mainly more for investment purposes and to maximize any of the coins that I'll be pushing through, as I stated before. But with this cowboy grading out there and being more and more rampant, it's definitely something an individual may want to think about when they come to grading. And if you do have a slab coin, you may definitely want to go over it with a loop, as don't expect it's coming with a nice shiny 70 slapped on it, you have a perfect coin, because I have personally seen flawed coins in 70 slabbed cases. So hey, you'll love it. It'll be fantastic to know what you guys think. Go ahead and subscribe if you ain't done so already, and I'll catch you guys on the rebound.